Wrapping it up on Sportsbook, betting insight today. LiveOddsSportsbookReview.com. One reminder, last year in this round, road teams went 5-0 straight up, 4-0 straight up. This is Saturday night, NBC. Detroit hits the road to take on Seattle, 9-7 against 10-5-1. Seattle's never lost a playoff game at CenturyLink Field. Detroit hasn't won a playoff game since 1992. Stafford, I love this stat, in his career against teams that finished the season with a winning record, 5-45 now. You know, the Titans won in Week 17, so that became a loss, and they went 9-7. Are the Lions a playoff team, Teddy? How the hell did this happen when you look at the defense?
Well, of course they're a playoff team. Here they are. They're going to Seattle. And all right, so they haven't won a playoff game since 1992. They're due. But you talk about the road teams last year in the first round of the playoffs going 4-0 in the wild card round, going 4-0 straight up. Remember, they only went 2-2 ATS against the closing numbers. The Steelers didn't cover at Cincy against the closer. They were laying 2.5 at the end and won by 2, at least according to my official numbers. And, of course, the Seahawks laying at Minnesota didn't cover the number there. They ended up winning the game by a point on that missed Blair Walsh field goal. So you say, how are the Lions a playoff team? Well, the Football Outsiders numbers say they probably shouldn't be. Defensively, final charts, Lions ranked number 32 on the Football Outsiders defensive. That's dead last in their defensive rankings. Running the football, you know, we say, hey, what's it make a playoff team? You got to run the ball. You got to be able to get stops. Lions number 25 in that regard. And, you know, Stafford, the passing game's in a large sense, a one-trick pony. That can usually, has the potential to get you to the playoffs, doesn't necessarily have the potential to advance you. And the market's showing that already. It's been nothing but Seahawks support from the opener in this one.
Well, they're a one-trick pony, but I think they can stay in this game and move the ball on Seattle. I mean, the defense, they miss Earl Thomas big time, except for the layup against Goff in the Thursday night game. Look at this. The last 2 weeks, Carson Palmer, 9.9 yards per attempt, no interceptions. Kaepernick, 9.8 yards per attempt, no interceptions. And they went up and down the field on him, too. That is definitely cause for concern.
It's a huge concern for me for the Seahawks. And again, you look at Seattle, you say, all right, well, maybe they didn't, this is different because it's the postseason and because it's the Lions. It was the 49ers last week, all right? And when I watch Colin Kaepernick marching up and down the field against the defense, that to me is something of a red flag about that defense. And let's not forget, all right, while the Lions been terrible running the football all year, they haven't been able to do it. All of a sudden, we got the great white hope in Zach Zenner, 32 for 136, 3 touchdowns over the last 2 weeks combined. So you look at the season-long stats, and you say they can't run the football. Now you look at Zach Zenner's numbers the last couple of weeks, say maybe they can, because you have to wonder if that Seahawks defense is going to have the old swagger. They're going to have the great crowd behind them. You know, the crowd's going to help the pass rush on third downs, and the Lions will likely have to pass a lot on third downs. But given the recent numbers for that Seahawks defense and the Lions' recent improvement running the football, I know they just lost 3 games in a row against playoff teams by a touchdown or more, and really all of them should have been double-digit loss. They got a BS final TD on Sunday night against Green Bay. They weren't in any of those games with a chance to win it in the fourth quarter. You know, I just worry about the Seattle defense right now. And not to mention that, the Seahawks running game, a team that's been great running the football, they can't run the ball right now, Paulie.
No, can't run the ball, and they can't protect Wilson either, but that shouldn't be a problem here because Detroit doesn't have much of a pass rush.
Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks in the last 4 seasons, they were never ranked worse than number 4 in the NFL at running the football. This year, they're number 25. But the offensive line, it's not like they couldn't run block, they couldn't pass block either. You know, Wilson sacked more than 24 other quarterbacks this season, but yeah, the Lions pass rush, pretty dicey on a regular basis. And in my mind, that's the key to the handicap. If Detroit can put pressure on Wilson, I don't know if the Seahawks get to what the margin that they need to get to in order to cover this number, because I do think Detroit's going to find a way to move the football against that Seattle defense, even though they've had their struggles at times.
Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
That's right, the 8th annual SBR Forum Bash will be held at the breathtaking all-inclusive Hard Rock Hotel in Punta Cana on Super Bowl weekend. Join Natalie Rydstrom and the Odds Couple as they mingle with SBR pros and have fun under the sun. Stay tuned for video coverage of Bash activities, including a $5,000 poker tournament sponsored by uwager.eu. Only on SBR, your sportsbook authority since 1999.